Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up, more of your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. Joining us now from Fort Worth, Texas, from RW Arms LTD is Mike Stewart. Mr. Stewart, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Kevin?
Not bad. Good to have you on here in Idaho talking about the issues of so much importance. Let's talk a little bit about bump stocks. You're suing the government concerning the banning of the bump stocks. You actually make bump stocks, right, sir?
No, we were actually the largest retailer and distributor of bump stocks. We never manufactured them, but we had the sole majority of the bump stocks in the United States.
So the bump stocks were pretty popular.
Well, they were very, very popular. And of course, bump stocks, it's just another way to bump fire. Bump fire has been done for years and years and years. People have been doing it with their belt loops or a rubber band or anything like that. What a bump stock did basically was just made it safer for you to do that.
Well, your feelings about the ban and why sue the government, sir?
Well, people have always asked what I think about this and why did Trump to do it. Listen, I'm a Republican. I voted for Trump. I support our president. That being said, do I have to agree with every one of his policies that he does? No, and I do not agree with this one. These things were legalized and looked at by the ATF several times and said they were legal, and then without legislation, able to change the rules and now make these illegal, which effectively took law-abiding gun owners and turned them into felons overnight if they didn't turn these in or destroy them, which is a complete overreach of the Second Amendment. But not only that, it's a Fifth Amendment taking clause, because if you turned it in and destroy it, they're not going to give you any money back for your product that you legally purchased. And that's where the lawsuit comes in. It's on the Fifth Amendment taking.
Let's go back to this, though. The legislation that was lacking, and as you've said, it was almost as if it was by decree, turn them in or else we're going to prosecute you.
That's exactly what it was. There was no legislation. It was Trump ordered them to go back and rewrite the rules, and basically what they did is they now said this plastic stock that has no mechanical parts or pieces, it doesn't change any part of the firearm. It just uses inertia and recoil to help you pull the trigger faster. But other than that, it's nothing mechanical to it. And now they rewrote the law where this plastic stock is now classified as a machine gun and illegal to own.
If they get away with this, what do you think is next?
Well, that's what the scary part is. I know a lot of people keep saying that they don't like bump stocks and nobody needs a bump stock. Well, that's fine. I understand bump stocks not for everybody. But people need to really understand and watch this case and support like Gun Owners of America and Firearms Policy Coalition, the ones that are out there fighting on the front lines for the Second Amendment, because if they can go and turn this plastic stock and just without legislation make these machine guns, what are they going to go after next? What if we get a Democratic president in there? What are they going to go in after then? They're going to go after our semi-automatic rifles, drums, magazines, a lighter trigger. Does that help you shoot better? So, what's next?
You bring up a good point. You would expect the banning of the bump stocks, and probably Obama is hitting himself in the head for not coming up with this. You'd expect it under a lib like Obama, but not under the Trump administration.
You're right. It was actually approved several times through the Obama administration. And then that heinous act that happened in Las Vegas with this crazed man, that the person that we should be talking about, and the health care and the mental issues of why this man did it, went out and used a tool. And instead of talking about that man, we're now talking about the firearm that he used. And it's horrible that we do that when it comes to rifles and guns. Timothy McVeigh blew up a building, but we're not talking about a truck. We're talking about Timothy McVeigh and the man. But if a man uses a gun, it's a platform for them to jump on and try to further overreach and take our Second Amendment away from us.
Well, we're not talking about banning fertilizer.
You're exactly right. We're not.
So
it's just.
Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say it's anything about guns that people just want to overreach on the Second Amendment. It's more and more. If it has nothing to do with guns, we don't talk about it. We talk about the real issue. So when it comes to guns, we don't talk about it. We want to talk about the tool that was used.
When we take a look at your lawsuit, that's going to cost you a lot of money, I would imagine.
It is. We're a 100% veteran-owned company, 100% veteran-run, small company. We've got a lot of our own skin in this game. So But it's a fight that we have to take to protect ourselves and our customers that bought these, that are having to turn these in without any compensation.
You know, I still go back to the idea of turn it in, it's against the law. And as you said, sir, there was just no legislation, and pretty much besides you, everybody accepted it.
Yes. Well, no, not everybody accepted it. There was, like I said earlier, the Gun Owners of America and the Firearms Policy Coalition and us and the Modern Sportsman. There's quite a few out there that are out there fighting this battle on several fronts, the Second Amendment part and the Fifth Amendment taking part. There's people out there fighting, but I think people are not realizing. They're just saying it's just a bump stock, it can go away, but people need to realize that if they can do this, it's a slippery slope. What are they going to do next?
Well, that's the scary part about this. How concerned are you about the libs taking your right to keep and bear arms?
You're right. It's exactly what it is. And what's going to stop them? If they can do this, if without legislation, hey, make these now illegal, what's going to stop them from doing it later if this continues on?
Well, what do you say to the libs that go, we don't need these things, bah, 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 bah. You don't need, and now anything that with a magazine is called an assault weapon?
Yeah, well, what I say to them is it's my Second Amendment right, and it's in the Constitution there for us to protect ourselves against the government, to enjoy our freedoms. And if you want a rule change, go through legislation and do it, but don't. There should be no give on the Second Amendment. We have the right to keep and bear arms, and that's what we need to do. And we need to all stand together and fight this battle, or we're going to end up losing it.
If people want to help you out, contribute, what can they do?
Well, if you want to help us out or just follow along, you can always go to rwarms.com. We pride ourselves on bringing the latest and greatest technology to the firearms accessory market. We carry some really cool stuff, neat stuff. Also, just like the Echo Fostech Echo Trigger, which is another way to rapid fire, or drums or magazines. But you can always go to our website and support us there, or go to our Facebook page, which is RW Arms, and just follow us along, and we'll keep everybody updated on how it is. Not only that, go out and support Gun Owners of America and the Firearms Policy Coalition, who are fighting the battle on the Second Amendment part also.
Mr. Stewart, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. You have a great day, and thanks for having me on.
We'll have you back. Take care now.
Yes, sir.
All right, there we have it. Mike Stewart joining us from Fort Worth, Texas, just outside of Dallas. So he's suing the government for the bump stock ban. And, you know, it's shame on us for letting that go. So you have a decree, really, a decree. No legislation banning the bump stocks. Why? Because of the tragedy of some crazy, wacky, zany creep in Las Vegas. And all of a sudden, the bump stocks are gone. Well, what's next? You heard Kamala Harris yesterday on KIDO Talk Radio saying that she'd like to bring back the assault weapons ban. For those of you that don't remember, that was probably Bill Clinton's greatest accomplishment, and yet, unfortunately for the devious little libs, it expired. Didn't really make America safer. It disarmed a lot of law-abiding citizens, church-going citizens, but it didn't make America safer. But you talk to the libs, that's what they want to do. Of course, the gun bans don't work on the crooks now, do they? Pro-Life joins us now. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Heidi Ho.
Yeah, we're in a real crisis. We're in a constitutional crisis, and the legislative branch, the Congress, is the superior branch. They can remove any member of the executive branch, any member of the judicial branch through impeachment, and they never do that. And there needs to be discipline by the Congress of those other two branches, and it never happens. It's just culturally unacceptable. And see, I think that President Trump could be impeached for banning bump stocks. That's Congress's decision to make. That's the state or the state's decision to make, probably the state's. And so we're in a real crisis because nobody's going to let Congress discipline anybody. Now,
a lot of people that listen to this show say you're running out of material because that's the same thing you say all the time.
No, it isn't the same thing.
You got anything new?
Yeah, I do have something.
You got any new material, buddy?
Yeah, just because somebody grows barley, that doesn't mean that we're going to violate the liquor laws and the the alcohol laws. We can grow hemp, and
you grow hemp, I'll have you arrested.
yeah, right. I mean, you can have hemp.
Are you growing hemp illegally? Where are you at, pro-life? We'll come down and pick you up, buddy.
No. Hemp is a very good product.
Well,
And,
it's illegal in Idaho.
well, of course, it's illegal in Idaho, and Idaho needs to wake up and legalize it and make recreational marijuana illegal and enforce it.
Do you ever go to the grocery store?
Yeah.
And I haven't done this yet, but I took a couple pictures. There's actually like hemp bread that you can buy at the grocery store.
Yeah, I have some loaves right here in my house.
Right. So I look, you can buy hemp here. You just can't grow it.
Right. Now, how stupid is that?
It's pretty good if you're Kevin Miller.
No, we're so dumb. I mean, just because.
Now, why do you say we're so dumb?
We're really dumb. I mean,
we're not dumb. We're Idaho.
We're growing barley, and we have all the liquor laws. Everybody
liquor
obeys them.
is legal.
The beer laws. I mean,
liquor is legal. Pot and hemp is not.
Just because we grow barley doesn't mean the kids are all out there drinking beer. They're not, because there's law enforcement against that, and so we can have both. We can have medical marijuana, we can have hemp, and we can have enforcement against recreational marijuana. That's pretty obvious.
Well, we don't have to have enforcement of it. We just don't have to legalize it.
Yeah, well, we make it illegal.
And it currently is illegal.
Yeah, and we define it really well so that we can make it really illegal and have penalties for it, which I don't know if they're legislation.
So you would criminalize medical marijuana?
No, of course not.
Well, I don't think you know what you're talking about today.
No, you wouldn't criminalize medical marijuana. You'd only criminalize recreational marijuana. That'd be the only kind.
You're sounding like the host. You need to get your facts straight before you come on the air.
No, I got my facts straight.
You do?
Yeah, and I'll tell you.
What are you going to tell me?
The president needs to choose what issue he really wants to push it, because...
I go back to Mr. Stewart. Look, presidential decree is not the way to roll here.
Exactly. He shouldn't have done that.
What scares me to death is they're going to come for us.
Well, they already are.
Right.
I mean, the president needs to say that I'm going to take the border situation and I'm going to do what's right for the country down there, and let the House of Representatives impeach me, and then let the Senate say no, you're not.
I think you and I should go to the border.
Yeah, we should. I'd like to go down there, but I got too much to do. But anyway.
Well, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah, I probably am. I don't speak up enough on the radio. So anyway, we can't kill our babies. We can't do sexual perversion. And if we do those kind of things, we'll never get the Constitution straight. We'll listen to the public schools. If we have three.
Oh my gosh, pro-life.
We have three equal
pro-life.
branches.
Pro-life. That the time to be strong was at the beginning of the call, and now it's time to say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. We love you, Kevin.
We love you, pro-life. Always
All
good
right.
to spar with you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So, Boise State has a new president, Dr. Trump. Dr. Trump from California. Nothing wrong with somebody from California. University of California, Santa Cruz, female. Very excited to be here. Now, maybe this is just being me being a contrarian, me being a curmudgeon. But of all the states that this search committee that failed the first few times, remember we had like the final four and none of them were good enough, according to published reports. So now we're getting a president from California. It is disturbingly ironic, isn't it? When we have all of the California plates, the Californians coming in. Oh, Kevin, there are good people from California. Shame, Kevin Miller. I'm sure there are. I have neighbors that are from California. They've lived in my neighborhood longer than I have. Good people. They have Idaho plates on their cars, on their vehicles, which is refreshing. But I don't know how conservative the folks at Santa Cruz are, University of California, Santa Cruz and University of California. Well, no, it's Idaho. And I suppose we have to start wondering, what is the culture of this state with so many people coming in? You know, and to my friend Ted, who says, look, Kevin Miller, you need to do more to make sure that kids stay away from the drugs because it's everywhere. Much more than when we were kids. Because there was a stigma when it comes to drugs being illegal, right? Now, today, we want to get rid of the rules. Coming up next, the governor weighs in on marijuana, and it's good news. First, traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Just think about that for a minute. Here you have Boise State getting a new president from California. Of all the states for Boise State to get a president to draw from, California. Interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Nothing against California, nothing against the new president, Dr. Trump, but I do find it ironic, and I wish I could buy the trademark, what is it, Idafornia or something like that. I think that's perfect the way the state is going. Sadly, number one. Number two, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, the Governor Little, had his capital for the day recently in his hometown of Emmett, Idaho, and he said if people, what was it, and the Commodore 64 here is already broken again, unfortunately, so I can't actually read the statements, but I won't whine, I won't digress. So the governor says, if people elected me to legalize marijuana in this state, they elected the wrong guy as governor. I applaud Governor Little. Maybe one day, the people that work for him, the press operation, will actually reach out to us and we can talk about things that we agree with the governor on and what we disagree with him on. And, the governor has no issues. He gives and takes. I'd love to get his thoughts on joining up against marijuana. We're not playing. And it's funny because you have an influence. It's very easy for the media to say, we're not going to take sides. You're not, really? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO, you have to take a side. Because if you don't, you're complicit with the drug pushers. Let's go to Andy in Star with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I am living the dream as I watch my computer freeze up before me. And again, another reason not to endorse autonomous cars.
The new president, BSU, is actually from Wyoming. So,
her last job was California, right? Santa Cruz?
Right. But she's actually from Wyoming. So,
where was her last legal residency?
In California, but
I will yield, sir, if not, I will cede the point regardless.
All right. Yeah, they said she already bought some BSU cowboy boots, so that can't be too bad, right?
Well, we all love to pander, don't we?
Yeah. Anyhow, that's all I had to say.
Oh, come on, Andy. That's all you got for me?
You weren't here when they put term limits, when we had the referendum for term limits for our legislature, were you?
That was in the mid-'90s, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was well before my time, sir.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't, if we referendum, if the good people of the state of Idaho referendum in marijuana, I think the legislature will overturn it like they did that anyway. So
you think they'd have enough guts
to much to worry about?
You think they'd have enough guts to do that, considering they drank the Kool-Aid of Medicaid expansion?
I don't know. I don't know if they have the will for it anymore. So, but they did with term limits, and we didn't balk too much. That should have been a revolution in my mind. But
now, Andy, are you vouching for the President Trump?
Yeah, I'm an advocate for him. I don't.
Not President Trump. President Trump of BSU from Wyoming.
Oh no! I was just saying she's from Wyoming, though.
All right, then.
She's kind of a local,
Yes, sir.
She's from the West, not California. So anyhow, that's all I had to say. But
Andy,
have a good day.
Thank you for keeping me straight. Take care, brother. I don't know if you could say that anymore. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. More of your phone calls in a minute. Rachel Sutherland joining us, Fox News Radio from Capitol Hill, talking about the issues that matter to you. And, of course, Rachel, I don't know where we begin. The endless calls to impeach, not to impeach. Of course, Congress still out. Where do we begin, madam?
Hey, Kevin. Well, yeah, I mean, there are calls for impeachment, but it's kind of a small minority within the House right now. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi came out for the second time publicly yesterday. She was at a Time 100 event saying that impeachment would be very divisive for the country, but she also said it wasn't off the table. So she's got the task of trying to unite Democrats. Some of these more progressive freshmen like AOC have been calling for impeachment. Also others as well, but they understand fully that even if they had the numbers in the House to impeach, which I don't know that they do, in the Senate, of course, it takes a 2/3 majority to remove, and I haven't seen the Republicans moving for anything like that. So, and they're also weighing the cost versus benefit scenario heading into the 2020 election.
Yeah, it does make you wonder about that. And Bernie Sanders sounding off about it, that if it's all about Trump, it might benefit Trump.
Well, it could. It could energize the base. If there's too much pushback from Democrats, that it would upset and anger Trump supporters and get them out en masse for the 2020 election. That's one way to look at it. Others are saying it's worth it to be able to impeach President Trump. There's also a case to be made for censoring the president, although that carries absolutely no legal consequences. It would just basically be a slap on the wrist.
How has the president reacted? I know his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, created quite a stir yesterday.
Right. The president has been reacting a lot on Twitter about the idea of impeachment. He was asking, he had a big Twitter day yesterday asking, essentially, how could you impeach a president who didn't commit a crime? Although people are saying there's evidence of obstruction of justice in the report. And the president also saying, well, how can you impeach a president when the economy is doing so well? Jared Kushner yesterday made headlines at this Time 100 event when he was talking about Russian interference, and it sounded like he was kind of downplaying it a little bit, but the president backing him on Twitter as well. So, you're seeing a lot of discussion about the Mueller report, but Congress is out again this week. They'll return next week. Maybe we'll be hearing more because there's been very few lawmakers to even chase down in the Capitol.
They're all in the districts. Rachel, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Let's start with Doug in Mountain Home. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. I think I've been waiting long enough. I forgot what I wanted to say.
I think you were talking about marijuana, brother. Yeah.
It's about marijuana. Yeah. I grew up around that stuff back in the 70s and the late 60s, and I seen kids. I got one guy I grew up with from third grade, Kevin, that literally his life is a freaking total mess. And he's done every kind of drug under the sun. They started out with marijuana, like everybody else usually does. And he's even what you want to call gay. I'd call it something else, but I'm not going over the radio.
So he's gay and he smokes marijuana.
He does. I haven't been around him for years and years and years, but I got relatives that still live down there that see him off and on, and even wears a dress at times. I mean, it's like, yeah.
Ooh.
all you got to do is lose all your brain cells from smoking that crap and doing other stuff. And all they're doing it for is votes. That's all they're doing it for. It's just like I was listening to Glenn Beck yesterday, and, he said Dallas, Texas, because he lives in Texas. He said the attorney, I guess it's the attorney general there in that county, in that city, they're going to pass, I think they already passed it, or they're trying to pass it, to where if you steal any kind of personal property from somebody that is less than $750, they're not even going to prosecute you. They're not even going to take you to freaking court. So what they're saying is if you need the money, say, to live, like you stole my wallet and you needed the money, it's all right. It's like giving. So there you go, Kevin. I mean, it's just like Bernie Sanders. I heard him talking again. Some of the rich, you got to punish all the rich. Some of them even got to die. So there you go, people.
Well, you're just full of good. You're just full of good news.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all you got to do is listen to the news. There's nothing good. Look what they're doing to our president.
I agree, but no, you mean a gay guy who wears a dress and smokes marijuana.
Yeah, and I some other time I'll tell you another story, but it ain't over with yet. But I'll tell you another story about young people in pot right here where I'm living. So it's you let that stuff get in and let them have it legalized. There ain't nobody going to tell me. All you got to do is look around the United States, Denver, Colorado. That's just one. California. Look at the freaking trouble they have with the drug, what do you want to call them, lords or whatever, where they're
right. The narco terrorists. Doug, thank you for the call. Let's go to Jeff in North Idaho with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Kevin, I see your esteemed Congressman, Mr. Simpson's looking at taking out the dams as of yesterday at the Andrus conference. He never fails to amaze everybody in North Idaho, does he?
Well, the thing about Congressman Simpson is he's probably the safest politician in the state.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I don't know why. The Boulder White Clouds was one thing. Nobody, most of the people in North Idaho didn't want that. Just like Mr. Rich pushing the Scotsman's Peak thing, now we got the salmon issue that's never gone away. And I fish for them in North Idaho, and we got to figure out how to get them back here, because this would be a great place to bring people to fish for salmon. Just like it could be as big as Alaska is if we figured out how to do it. But there's so much in the last 50 years tied to those dams. But if you take them out, you're going to go back to the 1940s. And it provides a lot of electricity for a lot of people when the windmills aren't turning and at nighttime when the sun's not shining for solar. So
what was his reason for getting rid of
the... In the Big Valley, will be hurt too.
What was his reason for getting rid of
issue.
Right. What was his reason for getting rid of the dams?
Said we've wasted $16 billion and we still don't have any salmon in Idaho. Everybody else gets the benefits, but Idaho doesn't see any of them. I kind of agree with that. Mm-hmm. Even though a lot of the restoration has been done in the Clearwater Valley, the Clearwater Basin, Salmon Basin, around Lewiston. So he just thinks BPA needs to be redone. It's time for 2.0. And, if you look at your electric bill and see how much you pay in your electric bill just for salmon restoration, is Idaho getting their bang for their buck?
Good point, Jeff. Thank you for the update from North Idaho. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Liberty Linda joins us now with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. Get us on drugs. Pro-life is right, and Mike Stewart is right. It's a constitutional crisis, the way I look at it. Get us on drugs. They are trying to make it a law that our children must take their shots, so we will have no choice for our own children then. And who knows what they are actually putting into those shots is the question. And so this is the way I see it, Kevin. Get us on drugs and take our guns away, and the government will totally control us. So, and oh yes, there's hemp and marijuana, which you have mentioned. So I would rather, Kevin, go with love God, love one another, and keep our rights. We should get a big sign that says that.
Liberty Linda, thank you. Anything else?
No, only that I knew two young girls from Sri Lanka that were absolutely lovely girls. And, as soon as I heard about the bombing, of course, I thought of those two lovely girls and some of the lovely people over there. And it just breaks our heart to hear something like that. We don't want to hear it anymore. Anyway, so you have a great day, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liberty Linda. God bless.
You as well. Bye-bye.
And we continue to ask you to join the conversation, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We go to Barb in Sunny Slope with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Barb.
Good morning. I want to contradict I don't remember who it was, maybe Gem State Patriot earlier on today. Was he on today? Saying that
there's no such thing as
marijuana...
the Gem State Patriot. That's a newsletter.
Well, I can't remember his name.
That'd be Tea Party Bob.
Tea Party Bob.
Come on, Barb.
Tea Party Bob.
Did you just say Tea Party Bob?
Tea Party Bob.
Come on.
You eliminate the R. You don't. What's the use of the R there? So I'm going to just contradict him on that. The idea that marijuana should be legal for medical reasons. Because I lived in Colorado, and when it was first passed for medical reasons, not recreational, everybody had a medical problem. You would be surprised how many medical problems suddenly cropped up.
Sure.
There is no end to medical problems if you pass it for medical reasons.
Right.
So I hope that Governor Little and I hope that our legislature realizes that this is not a good idea. And the idea that you can pass this and you can't discriminate in your housing and your employment and all that sort of stuff. I thought, I don't want to be, if I were employing somebody, I don't want to be employing somebody who's high for medical reasons or renting a house out to somebody who is smoking it for medical reasons or any other reason. I don't want to be blocked from that. So that's just my 2 cents.
Barb, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And we'll look for the Tea Party Patriot. Bob in Caldwell with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Kevin. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for listening. Bob?
I have a feeling about the population that's against banning marijuana, hemp, the folks that are all thrilled about the far left social communist candidates that we have, the people that are for letting prisoners vote, the people that are for everything that would turn your grandparents to roll over in their graves. So basically, I don't think it makes one iota of difference if they're presented with the truth, the facts, the reason for their behavior, and it doesn't matter what the issue is because they don't want to change their behavior. And if they listen to the facts, which they don't want to do, then they would have to make a conscious decision between wrong or right, and therein lies the problem. So their behavior gives them simply a permission slip to go off the rails and act like they want to do. So it tells us in the Bible, several places, Book of Romans, Book of Titus, don't waste your time. Make an appeal once or twice, walk away, spend your time with others. And I think it's long been known since Khrushchev that it's a trick and a technique of the communists to distract us and get us to focus on this, that, and the other thing while they do their work. And that's all this crap is. So I would hope that people would just focus on the churches that are jammed at the seams like mine was on Sunday over in Eagle, 7,000 people, and all the good that's being done, and just let these other people quarrel amongst themselves and not take their bait.
Bob, thanks for the call.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Ray Amaya, for that one. Well, we have some folks from California calling in. We'll get to them in a minute. Dave and Boise, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, good morning. one way I keep a hold or keep an eye on the liberals is I watch PBS NewsHour, which sometimes is hard to do. But there was a segment on there about teachers and striking teachers, what have you. And when they went into this, they were talking about the problem. Part of the problem is charter schools. Well, I have a grandson that goes to Compass, and so I get some involvement there. And you know what? It's a wonderful school. I'm assuming they're all about the same, but I just can't figure out what is the problem with charter schools versus public schools, especially where the charter schools are doing just a wonderful job. And so I got to get down the road. So if it's okay with you, I want to listen to your response on the radio. You can tell,
sure.
If you can tell me the difference between public and charter, and why would teachers have problems with charter schools?
I will, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
And quickly, charter schools are not self-funded. They compete for the same dollars that the regular schools compete with. By the way, Compass Charter School, always one of our stops on the tour. Promote our school, secure our future. We'll be there coming up very soon, thanks to CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru. The charter schools are a little different, though. They can set their requirements. They can set who gets in, who doesn't get in, and you have an active board, whereas public schools you don't. If you're familiar with Compass or any of the other charter schools, they actually have to get financing to get this happen, and they have to balance their budgets, and the parents are all in. And I'm not saying that the parents in public schools aren't, but it's a little different breed. Why people would have a problem with it, it competes with the standard model of education. And look, to the people that homeschool, to me, that's the biggest gift of unconditional love, that you sacrifice, getting a job or whatever to educate your kids. Homeschooling continuing to do very well here. Quickly to traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. Let's go to Pat calling from Monterey, California. Good morning, Pat. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning. I just wanted to talk about the new president of Boise State. Not her personally, but the college she's coming from. University of California, Santa Cruz is kind of like Berkeley South, the epitome of all that's wrong with education in California. Very socially conscious, for LGBT rights and all these bad things about California. Anyway, Angela Davis was hired by UC Santa Cruz, that communist professor, and she was just adored there. Students took over one of the buildings. I think it was either last year or the year before that. So they're just, it's not a very nice place as far as I'm concerned. And I live most of the time 50 miles south of there, so I'm familiar with Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz itself is a drug-infested city. I'm very disappointed that she's coming to Boise State. I hope she brings Wyoming values and not California values. And
we'll be watching.
That's about all I have to say.
Well, and you're calling from California?
No, I'm calling. I have a place in Boise, so when I want to get away from the craziness, I come up here where people are normal.
God bless you.
Thank you. And believe me, I bring Idaho values. But Santa Cruz, you can look it up. It's a beautiful place, lovely beaches, but the people are ultra, ultra left. And so is University of Santa Cruz. Like I say, it's like Berkeley South.
Well, of all the places, why California? Pat, God bless. Thank you.
And the inmates run the asylum there at UC.
Take care, Pat. Good morning.